Hello, hello, everyone.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Welcome to Intentional Wednesdays.
Hmm.
Well, of course, our topic, right, for today is what keeps you from speaking your truth or even being honest with people, right?
Uh-huh.
So, let me tell you about a conversation I had today. Um, I am big on our thoughts create, right? Everything. Our thoughts create everything we do. And the intention you put behind that thought is absolutely exactly what you're going to get. So I had a conversation with an individual and we were talking about
I'm listening. Please go ahead.
we were talking about we were waiting for some numbers to come back, and the first comment to me when this person saw the number was, I just knew it. I knew that's what it was going to be. And I said, okay. And I let the person talk. And of course, 50 million things came behind that conversation, right? So it was one comment after the other. And they pause and wait for me to react to each comment. In my head, I was like, okay, I said, at first, when he was saying all this stuff, I'm like, okay, I didn't even get to respond to the first thing. We already at number three. So I said, which one would you like me to respond to? Or whichever one, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Okay.
Hmm.
So when I brought it to this individual's attention that our thoughts create and the energy you put behind something is what exactly you're going to get, his comment to me was, that's just how I think.
Hmm.
And for me, this is exactly what I've been talking about almost every Wednesday. Your limiting beliefs on how your thoughts really truly create and the attention you put to not changing your thoughts to the better, but to holding on to what you always do.
Okay.
So when you take so say the energy you put, the amount of force you put to expecting something to come back a certain way. So if you expect a low number, you're gonna get that low number. You're gonna be like, yeah. But then when you expect it to, oh, they're not gonna give me a low number, they're gonna give me a high because this is what someone else got. Now
Okay.
you have automatically said, well, I just want that number because I know that's what I'm gonna get. For me, I don't give a damn. Tom, Dick, and Harry had to spend $1 million. That don't mean I'm gonna spend $1 million, and that's not the thought I'm going to put behind something I want. I'm gonna know that I'm gonna get what's best for me because it's for me, not what anybody else thinks. But the individual was like, well, that's just how I think. So and it was like, okay, don't even come with your little, oh, your thoughts create crap, so go about your business, girl. That's how I felt when I got the response I got. But I truly want to tell people, if you set your mind to something and say, I knew that's what it was going to be, you got exactly what you wanted. So if you took the energy to create something you do want, not what you don't want, because the energy for what he used was for what he didn't want, because he wanted to say, I just knew it. If you would use that power, the power you use behind whatever you want, do you know how amazing your life would be? And get out of that limiting thoughts of, this is how I always do it. But change is a good thing, isn't it?
So, are you saying with this individual that he knew it, which is a good thing?
No, it isn't not a good thing.
But if he, so if he is that confident on everything else, he would probably would
He'd
be
be damn
able to.
unstoppable if he
Yeah,
would use it to
exactly.
the good.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's what I agree with that.
But instead,
Um,
what everybody runs back to is getting defensive when somebody says, you could have changed the result in what you got if you had just changed your expectation of it, right? Because you expected a certain thing instead of just being, you know what, it's going to be an amazing thing, and it don't even matter what anybody else got.
true, but what if that expectation is, say, it's what they expected, but they're pleased with that expectation because it is exactly what.
Then be pleased with it, but the expectation for me is I'm expecting some amazing things, right? I want glitter falling from the sky. I want diamonds and pearls. I'm not going to expect that ice rocks is going to fall from the sky. But if it does, I'm not disappointed because of the fact that I'm still in my glitters is going to come later on. So regardless of what we do, the intentions you put behind something, when you say, oh, I just knew that was going to happen. Nothing ever good happens to me.
Well, yeah, if they say that nothing.
Yes, but that, along the lines of that, that's that comment everybody always comes back with. Oh, nothing ever good comes from it, or I never get good. So I went to an appointment the other day, and I pulled into the parking lot, and literally the parking lot's empty. So I'm questioning my appointment time because I'm like, this place is empty. Is it even open? I pull in and I see this sparkly thing on the floor. I saw rainbows, and I was like, ooh, what was that? So mind you, it was raining. So do I stop the car, get out to check what it is, or just pull my truck around just a little extra so the tires won't go over whatever that was? So I get out the truck and I look under the tire and I see what it is, but I'm like, do I really need, it's raining. Do I really want to see what this is? Or do I just leave it there because it ain't my business? Well, I looked under the truck and it was an iPhone. It had an iPhone. Okay. It had a clear back and the phone case had like a gold bar, like a rainbow-ish bar around it. I picked it up and it was charged. You look at it, you're like, it can't be. It was fully charged. It looked brand new. And I go inside, and as I'm going inside for my appointment, she's talking about me checking in, and this girl walks behind me and she's like, I didn't see it. I didn't find it. And I'm like, oh, is this yours? She was like, yes, where'd you find it? I was like, I almost ran it over. So the girl behind the counter goes, oh, you are one lucky girl. She was like, I never get that kind of luck. Just my luck, it would have gotten ran over and I would have had a broken phone. For me, she now just created more bad luck because all she ever thinks is, I'm not the one that gets good luck. Somebody else always is. And that's my biggest thing is, the limiting beliefs we have of we can never get anything good or nothing great ever happens to me. I never win anything. Somebody else always wins when it's change that thought process. You know what? I'm going to win regardless if it's big or small. I'm still going to win. Regardless if it is, always look for that great. And I know it's hard to change. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? It's hard to change what you know for so long or what you've been taught for so long. But if you intentionally worked on one thing every day or once, because people can't do so much, but one thing for 30 days. And the impression you're going to put on your subconscious is, I get amazing things happen to me. Everything always happens for me. Everything always works out for me. And that's what we got to come from. We have to come from. Everything always works out for me. So today's topic was supposed to be on. I just had to throw that part in,
Okay. Right.
Today's topic about me and Reginald had a conversation. I want to say what last week it was about a lot of the Army soldiers compared to, and it has nothing to do with soldiers, right? It's just us talking about the place we're in at the time and the conversation that comes up about a lot of the Army soldiers versus the Air Force soldiers committing suicide or having suicidal thoughts, and how when they were in, even if they're out now, they hold on to those pains and those crutches because the Army always said, if you didn't attempt to do anything, that's just a threat to say you just don't want to go on this deployment. For the Air Force, if somebody say, yeah, I'm feeling some kind of way, oh, we're gonna shut the whole city down. We're gonna put somebody else in that spot. But it comes back to you as an individual, right? When you were in, however many years it was, if you're in now, however it was for you, it comes to communication, right? If you feel like somebody is not listening or you're not getting your point across, the communication barrier, right? So if I say, you know what, I'm just not happy with my life. That's a blanket statement. What are you not happy about? What is it that you feel is lacking in what area are you lacking? And it does not have to be the military. It could be everything. If you feel like something is going wrong that you cannot overcome, whatever it is, it comes a point in time where you have to ask yourself, what is really my issue, right? What am I really upset about? What is keeping me from successfully, and I'm not saying you have to get over it, but what is keeping me from successfully not continuously living in that place of destruction where we're always feeling like you can't get past? Because people will ask me when we went to a retreat, the woman asked me, because I said, once I got out, I got my disability, da 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 da. And she asked me, what is a pretty little thing like you have wrong with you? Just because on the outside I look like amazingness, right? And I don't bring up the destruction that I went through, does not mean that I didn't go through destruction. I just carry my destruction different than somebody else. But stop judging people by how they look and destroying them and making them feel like they don't have a voice because you don't see what they feel. And then the opposite end of that, we have to, as individuals, decide that we're no longer going to let that destruction destroy us, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's what you choose to see at the end, right? If you're going to continue to see destruction, you're in a marriage, you're tearing up your marriage because they don't know what you're going through. But we talked about this before. If you don't speak about what you're going through, if you don't find a way to communicate it better, then you just don't understand what I'm going through. Or nobody ever can understand me. Nobody can ever help me. How is it going to get any better? Reginald, you're looking.
Well, you're exactly right. I think, in at least in my experience, and speaking on behalf, I really can't speak on behalf of someone, but at least this is a conversation I've been having with them, is that a lot of it has to do with their pride and the way they're brought up to really not want to give in, and to be able to speak about it. They just continue to follow suit.
Okay. So when do you say or put your pride aside? When does that happen? How?
Well, it's I think it's a lot. Shouldn't say think. I know it's a lot harder or more challenging to put yourself first in certain branches of the military, and certain professions or jobs that you have in the military. It can be a little different.
Wait,
I can say that
putting yourself first is a problem a lot of people have. So
yeah, well, but that's the thing. The way we came up is basically like the culture that you're in, or even your climate that you're in. That you're coming up,
yeah,
you want to be the best that you can be, and all your leaders or senior leaders, if you want to get to this rank, you got to be able to suck it up and drive on, put your personal opinions aside, or if you're hurting in any way, sometimes you just have to hate. If you want to get to this rank, you got to be able to suck it up and drive on. Put your personal. Sometimes you just have to hate. Is there a delay? I'm sorry, but
no, you're good.
Okay, it's hard to just say I'm just gonna put myself first, because the mission, we tend to say that's first, or whatever task we have, we say that's first. So you don't go home, or you don't go to medical if you're hurting. You don't really seek the attention that you really want while you're in the military, because we say families first, but is it really first? We always put the mission first. And I think people in society, they think that they have this view of the military is, oh, thank you for your service. You give up so much. Yeah, we give up so much, but also we have a family that's really close that we can depend on. So even though we're sucking it up, there's someone else sucking it up too. So you look at them like, well, if they can do it, then I can do it. But when you retire, there is no inner circle anymore. There is no camaraderie. There is no team that's trying to or moving in the same direction. Out here, it's really on your own unless you continue to find that network. And that's the thing that I see. And every time I talk to a veteran, you probably do the same thing. When you talk to a veteran or anyone that's been in the military, and they find out you're in the military, Or you can ask any veteran and say, hey, what's the best part of your life? Well, tell me a story about that was the best part of your life. And most of them would say, hey, it was the time that I was in the military. So why is that? Why was that the best time of your life?
Because they got the people there, right? The people that they're going through it with, right?
Yes.
But for me, that's not it. That I don't.
Well, so I when I talk to these individuals, that's what I hear, that they don't have a team that they really can count on out here in corporate America, the
But
civilian world, whatever you want to call it. And I know it depends on the individual and how strong a person can be.
it ain't even about that. It goes back
So what
to
is it about?
so it goes back to the pride, right? Like, because when you get out, automatically you say nobody cares about me because we're not going through the same thing. But that's not true. Like, yes, everybody's not going to be like, oh hey, but some people are looking for a pity party, right? So like we want, and
Well,
that's what y'all do. Y'all go, you know, oh man, I got shot at 10 times, bro. Like what the. Okay, is that really important though? Like you got shot 10 times. Does that
well,
make you big of a more of a man?
it is because now it's mental. It messes with your mental abilities to where you feel like not everybody is thinking the way that you think.
Yeah, but it's a
And they
limiting belief. It's still a limiting.
but
You're still
still
limiting yourself to where you used to be.
but it's hard to let that go because if you live that life for so long, it and that's something you thrive for, and it's almost like you make it to the Super Bowl, which is combat. And man, I'm at the Super Bowl. Not many people know what it's like to be at the Super Bowl, to actually play in the Super Bowl, and to get that ring and to walk away. Then you come back to regular practice, and you're like, "Oh, this ain't nothing, man. I was in the Super Bowl. I know what it's like. I've been there. I've
That's
done
the
that."
problem right there,
But
though.
it's they don't have. You can say that's the problem,
So
but you
you're
also got to.
here's the deal.
You,
Your example, right? Hold on. Your example of I went to the Super Bowl. This is not the same, but you got to work to get back to the Super Bowl, right?
no, you're not trying to work to get. You're what you're trying to do is not trying to work to get back to Super Bowl, but just say, hey, that was a time in my life. It was a great time. I enjoyed it, but now you need to find something else to
But that
occupy your mind. Something, I guess you could say like the Super Bowl, but it's not a Super Bowl. It's something else that can help you be not just successful, but a goal
but that's
that
what
you.
we talked about in the beginning, right? Creating your reality, creating where you want to
Yes,
be.
but it's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to do is kind of give you what I'm thinking. Well, I'm trying to give you what I think that they are going through. Not that I have fully been through that, but I've had a taste of it because it's that if I'm down, if I'm if I'm down, I could call one of them that come over and drink. I'm not saying that that's the same problem. I mean that's a that's a good thing, but you're releasing it because you're dealing with like-minded people um, that have the same shared experience. And it's hard for a person to leave that same shared experience and go out. They got to be very strong minded. But not only that, it does go back to what you're saying. Um, you got to get through that, but it's not that easy
I I never
because
said it was easy.
yeah, it's not easy, but it comes out to be like, oh, it's easy.
It's
Now,
communication too. Like, are you willing? Are they willing to? Are they willing to talk about it? So, say I'm not in the military. Are you willing to talk to me, dumb down stuff for me to understand what you're going through, or is it too much work for you to dumb down something that you're going through? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it when does it become enough, right? Because all day I can say what I went through, what happened to me all day, but that don't do nothing for me. It does nothing for me. So at this point in life, you need to figure out what it is that drives you to do that next thing, not what you used to do, right? Because we're now living in the past and we cannot move forward from the past because we continue to stronghold back here. So we always going to be back here. Nobody's, and like I told you before, I don't take away your experience. I don't take away what you went through, but do not use it as I cannot have nothing because that happened to me.
That's true. So it's basically your approach on how to tackle that. Yeah, your thoughts with this individual person, because I also think they would get defensive, like you were saying earlier, if the way you come on and say that, because you don't want to go to someone to say that basically forget the past, you got to let it go.
I never said forget the past.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'm just telling you what someone cannot do, because that was probably the best part of their life, even though it was very challenging.
So for me, here's the deal with that comment, right? If they're married with kids, right? Now you're saying that that what you went through and that what you was doing is more important than this right now. What's going on? That's what you're literally telling me. If you're telling me that you cannot appreciate and be grateful for where you're at right now with your kids, your wife, your family, the family that you have, you would rather destroy what you have right now because you miss that.
Well, that's why you see a lot of these combat vets committing suicide. That right there. They can't let that go.
I'm not saying let it go, but it becomes creating a better environment for yourself and your family. Be willing to, because I know half of them aren't willing to have a conversation. Half of them aren't willing to just speak their truth and tell, like, you know what, today I just don't feel like I can't be here today. It's about being, that's what speaking your truth is. If you feel as though that you are so destroyed inside, tearing somebody else down around you does not make you a better person. It does not. But in the end, you're sitting here saying, if you could just say, I want to get over this, but I want to do better. I want to have better, but you're not willing to put in the work to have better. You're willing to just stay where you are. You're willing to stay stuck. And the moment you admit that you're not willing to go further is when you will start to find that you're holding on to something that the old thoughts, the limiting beliefs, the things that you went through before, because those people didn't make who you are. They did not. They were just people on your journey and your path to go forward, and you're choosing to hold on to that. You no longer are a part of that. And we go through things in life where I'm not saying you need to forget it. I'm not saying that nobody cares what you went through. It's all important, but it's now, if it's affecting you and your family, in the end, at some point we need to figure out, how do I get past that hurt and that destruction that I went through and find comfort in what I have now.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Because it's easy to stay in the same place. That comfort zone is amazing.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of people enjoy that comfort zone. And there's nothing wrong with being in that comfort zone, but you can't sit up there and say, I wish I had more, or I want more for my life, and then say, I'm happy with my comfort zone. So at that point, if someone's to say, hey, I'm not happy with my comfort zone, what do I do? I've had this conversation with several people, and they have said that they have no idea what to do. And they're stuck on their past failures.
A failure isn't a failure. It means you weren't supposed to be doing that thing in that specific moment in time, and it was not, but you gave up. You gave up. So that's the biggest thing. I was on a coaching call with a lady, and I asked her what she was passionate about. And she was like, I can't think of nothing. And I said, okay, is there anything that you believe that so the way you can measure something that's your purpose and your passion is if you would do it for free. Like if somebody came to you and they'd like, well, you can no longer get paid for this, but you got to do it. Would you do it? And she couldn't come up with anything. And I said, you literally need to sit with yourself and allow your thoughts to become where you want to be. So you need to, what people don't understand is we can create amazing things, but we choose to stay where we want to be, right? And hello, Alex. He said aloha. For most, it's worth. At the peak, they were doing the most meaningful things. Some come back and struggle because they may not have as much worth in their current life. And that's 100% true, but it comes a point where you need to think more about yourself. You need to hold yourself to a higher place. Stop destroying yourself inside. So when you decide, right, when you make a decision, you know what? I'm no longer going to use that as a reason to stay here. I'm going to find something else that really brings me joy. And it's about finding things that makes you happy. It could be sitting there and carving sculptures out of wood. It could be creating t-shirts, hats. It could be anything. But until you try something different, you're going to get the same results because you're not willing to try to do something different.
Mhm.
We have to ask, what are we willing to do for ourselves? Self-care is not selfish. When you take care of yourself, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So when you take care of self, you have enough to give others that you don't feel drained in the end. And if you feel like somebody is always, whenever you're in contact with them, if you feel like they're always draining you, if you feel every time you have a conversation with them, you just feel like the energy, you don't have to deal, you can't talk anymore. It's like, I just feel tired. I just want to take a nap. That means that person is stealing your energy, and you need to distance yourself. And I'm saying it comes to a point where we need to figure out how we're who and how is tearing us down and not helping us go to the next level. Because you spend too much time. If you're doing something and you're not getting any further, you have to ask yourself, what approach can I do different to get a different result?
That's right.
What can I do to just get where is my next, how what am I going to be passionate about, right? Because we get to that next level when we go after that thing. So figuring out that thing is where we're at. It's where you have to come from, and you have to want it. You do. You have to want. You cannot expect somebody to come up with the fairy with the wand and saying, "Your wish is my command. Anything you want." The fairy ain't gonna come. She just ain't gonna come. We gotta decide. You have to decide. So I'm telling y'all, do not go into 2022 with that same limited belief and them same nasty thoughts about that's what I always do. Because that always, you won't ever get no better if you're always doing that same thing. It doesn't serve you. That thing no longer serves you. It's time to release it. It's time to let it go. Be okay with letting it go. Be okay with, and I know a lot of people are not, and it's going to come back to they're not as strong, but take it one step at a time. Change one thing, because when we change things, the little baby steps, right? The little baby steps. Don't change your whole world, because you're gonna fail. You're literally gonna fail. If you try to change 100 things at once, you're going to fail, because people cannot. The way our brains are wired, change is not something the brain likes. You gotta work on it. Something you've been doing for 40, 50 years ain't gonna change overnight. You can change, but that habit, you're gonna always somehow come back to that little bad habit that you want to get rid of. And I am welcoming anybody who wants to come on and chat and has a different opinion to come on, shoot me a message, and I will let you in, because it's something that people tiptoe around. We don't want to talk about it, but then when somebody wants to talk or somebody has something to say, you always have this defense of that can't help me. It can help other people, but it can't help me.
I with that though, you have to be able to just listen. Listen to what they have to say before coming up with a plan of execution or a fix for it. Just listen, hear it out first.
You have to start your conversation with, I just want to tell you what's on my mind and I don't want your opinion. Bottom line.
Well, I mean, but there's a reason why they do want your opinion, but first they want to be able to tell you or whoever the whole story.
Yeah. Be clear about it. That's speaking your truth. Be clear. Be clear about what you want to say. Don't just start talking because everybody's not a coach. Everybody's not a therapist. They're going to react to the first thing you say. So when you start speaking, they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, here, this is what we're gonna do. No, let me tell you let me talk for 30 minutes and then you can respond. But that's speaking your truth. That's being willing to be honest with what you wear and you're trying to go.
Yes, I agree, because sometimes people just want you to hear them out. Let them just put it all out there, and not to come up with this plan yet, because they're really not ready to give everything to you yet. Um, and I got it. Yeah, they need to present and say, hey, I really don't need much feedback right now. I just want to get some things off of my chest, and then we can go walk away, then come back and talk about it a little bit more, until they feel like that they know that you're going to be able to receive it in a positive way and not flip it to where it's a negative thing. I just see, because the one person that I talked to, and I respected this person quite a bit, and because the first time I met him, he really he he had that command presence, and I was like, wow, who is this? This guy is really on it. So the same guy, um, is the one I talked to not too long ago, and he straight up told me, he says, hey, please don't call. I'm not going to answer your phone call. You can text, you can respond on a text, but that's all I'm going to do. I don't plan to kill myself. I don't have suicidal intentions, but I know that suicidal ideations is real. And I always said that it's not real. I always said that it was somebody with a weak mind that really can't deal with life, but it's real. So the first thing I wanted to do, I wanted to respond and say, hey, you know, hey, this is what you need to do, and what have you. Um, so I just say, hey, all right, just talk to me. What's going on in your life? What are your day-to-day activities? Instead of coming up with a fix, hey, you need to do this, I say, hey, talk to me. What is it? And then as they got to talking and opening up, that's when I turned it around and said, hey, okay, well, have you ever thought about this? Or have you ever thought about that? Do you think you know what you like to do? I don't know what I want to do. I feel like all my dreams, I don't know what that is. Okay, let's talk about it. And I realized, and I'm not saying that that approach is the best for everyone, but I think that you got to take a different approach for different people, not the same approach. But I think that it helped him a lot. And then it became an open dialogue to where we were able to say, oh, okay, yeah, now let's talk about this. This is what we need to do. What do you think about this? I just, I wanted to just say, hey, man, for real, you need to suck it up, man. I can't believe you're dealing with something like this. I would never believe it. Um, it does go back to what you were saying earlier. But I also believe that there's a certain approach you got to take to it, because I think you could really push someone over the edge by being too direct. What are your thoughts? Because right now you've got that look like,
I don't know where you came from, the being direct part. I don't know where that came from.
with coming up with a fix right away.
Who? Okay, I'm not sure where that came from, but okay. Um,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't. For me, it's about. It still goes back to what people saying that they don't want to talk, but it comes to a point where you wouldn't have told somebody something if you didn't want to talk, right? I'm not saying that we have to 100% fix your issue or try to come to the end of it, but if you want to talk, be willing to talk about what's really on your mind and not side chatter, because side chatter don't get nothing fixed. The side chatter doesn't fix your problems. right? The side chatter doesn't get you out of every minute you're good, you're ups and down, you're up and down. 1 minute I'm good, the next minute my thoughts are now suicidal, right? I should never be here. But it always goes back to, we need to remember that we are important. Everything we do, anything we put out there, we are important. Not one person's more important than another. They're not. But you allow yourself, like I said, when people are like, "Oh, you think you're better than me?" No, you think I'm better than you. I never said that. I just carry myself for me, right? When I do things, everything I do, my intentions are about me and what I want out of what I'm doing. I never go out and say, "Oh, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna do better than you." No, I'm doing better than I did last time. I'm always doing better than I did. My measurement is only off of me. So when I do something I set out to do, you best believe the next time I'm coming better than I did the first time, because of the fact that my growth is important to me, not what you think. Because everybody got a damn opinion, everybody, and that is your prerogative to have an opinion, but you don't get to tell me what I'm going to do, because that's your opinion, that's your expectation of me, and that's not mine. So when people have thoughts about wanting to, uh, they don't think that, I miss my brothers, I miss that time in my life, I was great then. What were you doing at that point past being in the military? Because you did a job, right? You just didn't show up and be like, "Oh, I'm pretty today." You were doing something. So is what you were doing what you loved, or what, just the friends? So if the friends is that, I'm sure if y'all were brothers then, y'all could be brothers now. But the communication, reaching out to these brothers that you feel, or sisters that you feel, is what made you feel like you are worth something or doing something. Not one person can make you feel any different about yourself than you do first. So you cannot expect anybody to hoorah, hoppity hoopity you, and make you feel amazing until you feel amazing with who you are. That's just an external thing that somebody hyped you up. When that hype is gone, now if that's your way to say, "Oh, they like me," do you like yourself first? Because we cannot be around anybody else until we can be with ourselves first. And that's what it all boils down to. We came into this world for a purpose. And if you continue to hold on to what back in the day, I'm not saying you have to let it go. I am saying find out. Yes, everybody's gonna come back. You're gonna come back with, "I don't know my purpose. I don't got nothing. I got nothing." Write up on a piece of paper, literally, "What am I here to do?" And that answer will always come to you, but you have to be willing to accept the answer that comes, because you are searching for it. If you're not searching for it, then you'll never know, right? You'll find out in years to come. You'll find out when it's past its time. But if you truly want to know what it is, you have to be more conscious of what you're doing in your world now. It ain't about then. It ain't about years from now. It's about right now. What are we doing right now to create what we want, and stop holding on to what used to happen, right? Because if I had a group of friends that I felt 10 years ago that they were my people, right? These are my people. Where are those people at? Did you lose contact with those people? So how much of a people were they if you no longer speak to these people? And in the end, you're going to turn around and say, "Well, they didn't keep in contact with me." It goes both ways. Both ways. The communication goes both ways. Staying in contact goes both ways. Not everybody is willing to stay in contact, email, phone, whatever. But if you truly want to, if you're saying that this is what kept me being great, and you no longer stay in contact with that greatness, who is to blame? Who are we blaming? We're blaming ourselves. We're blaming other people because they didn't call us. You could have picked up the phone too. Like, you could call if you feel 10 specific people. If they are not dead, you can find them, right? Like, if that's what you're telling me, if that's what you're saying, what y'all did in the army, then get a hobby and find a way to be together every year, every however long y'all do, 5 years, 10 years, whatever y'all do, however it works for y'all, then get together. Stay in contact. Zoom is an amazing feature. Get on a Zoom and have a conversation. But the problem with people is they never stay consistent. They say they want something, but they're never consistent on what they say they want. And the minute it falls off, "Oh, nobody reached out to see how I was doing." But you shut down. Did you check on anybody else? Everybody's so dang on quick to say, "This person didn't do this for me, this person didn't do that for me." But what did you do for them? What did you do? Like if you can say that I call them every day and nobody don't answer, then 100% you can say that they're not there for you, right? But if you don't do anything but say they don't check on me, nobody checks on me. Who do you check on? Who do you check on? Y'all claiming fame to this past time when y'all was the best and the greatest, and this was, oh my God, we was doing so much. You know, it was so great. Make it great now. Find that thing that you are missing. If because I'm saying I got to come back for all of it. You missed the camaraderie. Alex said, "Oh, you hit that hot button today." I'm just saying. Listen, at this point, the come from everybody always got a damn excuse, right? They say I miss the time, I miss the bonding, I miss this. But y'all don't talk on the phone, y'all don't mail shit, y'all don't email. Everybody got email, everybody got a phone, everybody got a Facebook, everybody got everything. Y'all can stay in communication. But if you're just saying nobody calls me, I don't know anybody's, but yet then all them 10 people on your Facebook is friends, but y'all don't talk, right? But you liking their pictures and you commenting, oh, good, great job, bro. But you miss them, but y'all don't get together. So all this, the things that people create, because it's all a creation, it's all something you have built up for you to feel like this is where you're at and this is your come from. There's a fix. There's a fix. Because you can change anything that you're going through right now by changing your thoughts. Anything you're going through, any and absolutely anything. We reach on to wanting to be in this place where we say, he don't love me because he didn't do that specific thing for me, right? Like that specific, like you wanted it that specific way, but that other person doesn't show the love that you're expecting. Because if you're gonna say I expect you to do, but I'm not gonna tell you what to do because I expect you to figure it out. You know me, then you failed. You just failed because you're expecting somebody to do something that's in your head and it's not in theirs. Every single time you have that come from, oh, he didn't do it like I said. I felt like he should, but he did something, right? Like everything everybody wants to come from, the place you want to say, the things you want to do, you expect somebody to do it the way you want it, and it never was going to come out that way, and you're going to feel like they disappoint you every single time because you expected them to come the way you wanted them to come. We expect people to do so much things for us, and then when they disappoint us, it's like, how dare you? You didn't do this. How dare you not check on me? How dare you not do this? How dare you not call me 10 times today? What you got to decide what you want. You have to, and yes, it ain't gonna come today. It's not gonna come tomorrow. Because if you've been sitting your life saying, I don't know what to do this whole entire time, that's what you're always gonna get. That I don't knows.
I have nothing further to say. I think you done wrapped it all up.
I mean, it kills me that's the come from every single time. Like we are such, like as humans, we have the power that I'm telling you, we can. Changing the world is what we should be here for. Changing how, if I learn something, I am willing to teach you how to do it. But the reality is, what are you willing to do for yourself? Because I could sit here all day stomping my feet, like just start thinking differently, start doing something different. Just go out for a daggone walk and sit in the environment, sit in the woods, sit wherever, and just breathe. Like just be. Don't worry about what somebody's expecting from you. Don't worry about what you need to do tomorrow. Just be here now, the present. And you'll be amazed the stuff you start to see. I mean, I have an 8-week course that we go on and we do color walks, right? So you go on a walk and you pick one color. And on that entire walk, you have to see how many times you see just that color. Do not be on your phone. Do not be doing, find the color. And when you're done, see what you have never noticed on that same route that you go all the time. You'll be amazed on the things you start to pay attention when you actually intentionally set your entire time out to be present in the moment and not worry about the past. Because
that's right,
the past,
you gotta enjoy the moment.
huh?
That's right, you gotta enjoy the moment. And I can speak on that because I used to plan everything out. I planned everything out. I said, all right, I'm gonna wake up at this time. I'm gonna do this at 9. I'm gonna do this at 10, and what have you. and everything's going great, and it's a good plan. But also, you have to be able to just sit there and enjoy it because tomorrow's not promised.
It is not.
And when you plan too much, you can't really keep track on what's going on right now or to be able to fully enjoy it. Um, and
Here's the deal
oh,
for
sorry,
anybody
I'm
watching.
talking to you.
If you feel as though you need to chat, there is I will put my link so you can book a time to talk to me. Nothing you discuss with me will be passed on anybody, share with anybody. But I'm telling you now, if you're not willing to do what you need to do for you to figure out what you want, how you want, like knowing what you want does not have to be the final end, right? But if you choose, like we have a 14-day reset cleanse coming up, and you'll be taught how to choose your word for the year. And when you choose your word for the year, it is about where you want to be, right? And it's being intentional about how you show up in the world. It'll be 100 times you could be like, oh, I want to do this, but then you never actually live to that thing you set out to do, because everybody makes that New Year's resolution. Those are a crap. Stop making a New Year's resolution because you don't stick to it. Be where you want to be and figure out how you want to show up, because showing up in your true form and purpose is what you're here to do. And some people could say, well, I don't know what my true purpose is. It's cool. You don't have to know, but be willing to want to figure it out. Stop just taking on life and letting life happen to you. Start creating your reality and the things that you want. Today, write down, you can start with 10, right? 10 things you want to happen. 10 amazing things. Don't write down no crap because you thought it was cute to say something dumb on a piece of paper. Just remember, you write it down, you've now sealed that deal and it's going to happen. So creating what we want is where we should be and where we should live for. Because that thing that you're holding on to, if it doesn't benefit you, if it ain't making you no money, if it ain't paying your bills, like what you holding on to it for, it no longer serves you. It does not serve you. The purpose it is here for is to help you. And when you take failures as failures, take it as that next step, right? That thing wasn't for me. That didn't work out because that wasn't for me. That was for somebody else. Let me try it a different way. Let me try something different. If you just quit on your dreams, on the things for those who know what they want, if you quit on your dreams, that's all you're going to ever continue to do is quit.
And with that, the good thing about it is that if you start whatever it is and you say you failed at it, it's a good feeling because you know you've at least attempted to do it. It's one thing to say, hey, I attempted to do it, it didn't go as planned. Now I'm going to move on to this next goal or dream or whatever you have. But if you never attempted to do it, you're always going to man, I should have done this, I should have done that. Well, do it. If it doesn't work out for you, obviously it's a learning lesson. You can take that to the next project or dream or goal, whatever that is, and you'll walk away like, man, look at this guy. He's done this, he's done that. Yeah, I got it. It may not have ended up the way you wanted to, but the other person that's looking at you, they're like, oh my God, did y'all see he was on TV? Yeah, he only had a split part, but look, and it's just an amazing feeling that you have knowing that you attempted to do something and you can now put it in the back and say, hey, put it in my rucksack. I've done it. Off to the next one. Off to the next one.
Yep.
Man, you're spot on, babe, and I'm glad to see you. You know, I kind of try to do that on purpose because I know that you've got a lot of knowledge that will be very helpful for the audience out there, and I know that if you apply these things, then man, who knows how far you can go. So my hats off to you, babe.
Okay. Well, we'll end it here and we'll be back. If anybody wants to chat, I will put the link in underneath this video, and be willing to want to change. That's where it comes from. You have to be willing to want to let it go. Not saying forget it, but let it go and stop holding on to it with the death grip, because that death grip ain't getting you nowhere. So you guys have an amazing, amazing night, and we will see you again.